Hello, my remote learning botanists. When we were last together, we talked about how do leaves help a plant get light. We also talked about that process called photosynthesis, where the plant can just go right to the sun and say, "Cheeseburger, please." Well, not really, but it can make its own food through the sunlight. So today we're going to talk about how insects and birds can help plants, and we're going to also talk about how seeds travel. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So we'll start first with the essential question, how do birds and insects help plants grow? Some of the essential vocabulary that we'll start with is pollen. Now when I think about pollen, I think about, itchy eyes, runny nose, and sneezes, because I am highly allergic to pollen, and I'll bet some of you out there are too. Those are those allergies that we have during certain seasons. But in this study, pollen is the sticky powder inside the flower that helps to make the seeds. Pollination, though, is the transfer of pollen to a flower that allows the plant to produce seeds. Next is transfer. Now there's that Greek root, trans. Now what does that mean anytime we see that in a word? Sure, we think about moving across something. So the word transfer means to move from one place to another. How do insects help plants grow? Well, plants need the help of insects, birds, and even wind to move pollen from one flower to another to help them grow. Without the transfer of pollen, plants cannot produce fruit or seeds to continue their life cycle. The sticky pollen from flowering plants clings to the bodies of birds and insects as they land on flowers. So how many of you like to eat Cheetos or cheese balls? Think about your fingers when you're finished eating. Yeah, you've got that orange on it. So I like to think of that as like what an insect would be like after that pollen sticks to them. So while flying from plant to plant, pollen is dropped or rubs off on the insect's body, transferring it from one flower to another. This process is called pollination. Plants must be pollinated to produce seeds that will continue the life cycle. And that moves us into the next lesson. How do seeds travel? Some of the essential vocabulary that we'll come across is disperse, to distribute or spread about over a wide area. Now stationary is just the opposite. If something is stationary, it's not moving. And there's that word again, transport, to take or carry from one place to another. Why do plants disperse their seeds? Dispersing seeds is a necessary part of continuing the plant life cycle. Seed dispersal is when seeds are transported from the plant to another area in order to grow. Plants disperse their seeds to ensure that the next generation of new plants will have less competition for the space, sun, and water they need to grow. If plants simply let their seeds fall to the ground beneath them, the soil would be overcrowded with new plants. Do you remember way back in our study of plants, we talked about that? That was one of the things that plants need, is they need space to grow. Well, plants depend on the help of insects, animals, wind, and water to help them move their seeds to new locations away from the parent plant. How do seeds travel? Boy, I don't know about you, but I have lots of these white dandelion seeds in my yard right now. Plants have 5 primary ways they move their seeds. Unlike animals, plants are stationary and cannot move about to spread their seeds. To adapt, plants have developed other methods to move their seeds away from the parent plant, ensuring the continuation of the life cycle. Gravity. Some plants simply let their seeds fall to the ground. This method is often used by annuals, or plants that live only one season. Since the parent plant dies off, the new seed does not compete for space, sun, and water with the parent plant. Another way that seeds are dispersed is air. Boy, you can see in the instance of this dandelion, boy, it doesn't take much air at all to blow those seeds away, does it? Plants such as dandelions and cattails have lightweight seeds that are easily blown by the wind. These seeds have feathery bristles that can be carried long distances. In the right conditions, these seeds can travel hundreds of miles. Trees such as maple. Oh, I'll bet you've seen these. Raise your hand if you call these helicopter seeds. We know why, right? When they fall, they tend to do this, don't they? They're seeds with papery wings shaped like propellers to help them flutter through the air. Boy, I have lots of those in my yard right now. Do you? Water. Many plants grow near rivers, lakes, streams, or oceans. These plants produce seeds that float. Their fruits and seeds are carried away by the water. Now, when I was down in South America a few years ago, I was on a big raft and I saw tons of coconuts just floating in the water. And it just occurred to me, well, that's a prime example of seed dispersal that I had never thought about. But yeah, coconut is technically a seed, and the water was being used to move that seed to new places or dispersing it. So these are water lily plants. Water lilies grow in ponds. As their seeds float in the water, they become waterlogged and fall to the bottom of the pond. Lodged in the mud, water lily seeds take root on the pond floor to sprout and colonize in a new location. Another way that seeds are dispersed or moved to new locations is through animals. Another way to send seeds away from the parent plant is with the help of animals. Seeds such as chestnuts, and here they are right here, and nettles have barbed tops. Do you see these sticky, thorny-like outer coverings that get tangled in an animal's fur or feathers? Other seeds have sticky coatings ideal for attaching themselves to animals as they pass by. Raise your hand if you have shoes or any clothing with Velcro on it. Did you know that Velcro was a mistake that worked? True story. Velcro was invented by a man that went for a walk in the woods, and he and his pet got covered with burr-like plants like this. And he noticed how well that plant stuck to his clothing. And he said, aha, I might be onto something here. And so with that mistake that worked, he invented that product that we all know, love, and today as Velcro. Yeah. So, moving right along. Nut trees allow their seeds to fall to the ground. These seeds are often carried away by squirrels, raccoons, and skunks far from the parent plant. Some of these seeds are eaten by the animals, but many are gathered, then forgotten about, and left to grow in their new locations. Many animals eat the fruits of plants. The seeds of the fruit pass through the animal's digestive system unharmed and come out the other end in their droppings. You know, hoodle-doodle. African elephants eat the fruits that have fallen from trees and deposit the seeds in their droppings several miles away. Monkeys eat figs and other fruits. Even ants carry seeds into their nests where they can begin to grow underground. The seeds found in animal droppings eventually germinate and grow. Now here's a really cool one. I love this method of seed dispersal. Explosive force. One unusual adaptation is the ability that some plants have developed to launch their seeds. When the seed pod of the milkweed plant ripens, it bursts open with explosive speed, flinging the seeds into the air. This is caused by tension building in the cells of the plant. When enough tension is created, the pod explodes. Other plants, like peas and flax, produce seed pods that, when ripe, dry out and split open, causing the seeds to scatter. It's a very cool thing to watch on video. You just wait and see.